The universe exists in perfect harmony and order by virtue of laws that govern everything and everybody. These rules are impersonal, meaning they hold no goodwill nor ill intent, for they operate automatically and follow unconscious patterns underneath our conscious awareness. The natural truths of the universe are thought to be intrinsic, unchanging laws that ancient cultures have always intuitively known. They date back more than 5,000 years, from Egypt through Greece to India's Vedic culture. It's important to note that the laws of nature are there whether you are conscious of them or not, and these are descriptive rather than prescriptive, meaning they describe the workings of the universe and everything in it across all aspects, yet these laws do not necessarily have a specific or explicit reason. It's been said that if every person understood and applied the fundamental principles of the universe, then we would hold the ability to entirely change the direction of planet Earth. Without further ado, let's dive into the laws of the universe that you can apply broadly in life. This is the first rule of the universe. Have you ever considered that everything occurring in your mind, everything you are aware of, including thoughts, feelings, and sensations, actually take place solely within your own private internal world? Nobody else is hearing your ideas in any way, they just appear to you. Yet it is in the internal world where every idea is born. Everything around you that you call life was made up by people who were no smarter than you. Everything exists now because at some point it appeared as a thought. This is the first rule of the universe. The base of everything is in the inner world. Everything has a starting point. Everything starts from thought. Our understanding of reality is influenced by how we perceive and interpret the information received through our senses and our minds. The thoughts you have influence every part of reality, and all thoughts turn into things eventually. Every single thought you have and everything you put in your mind has the ability to elevate you or destroy you. And the brain doesn't know the difference between good thoughts or bad thoughts. Every thought is a driving force that creates a certain vibrational state. The thoughts that we think are not just internal mental processes, but rather they can have external effects on the world around us. Although at first invisible, their forces are mighty. The world within is governed by mind. When we discover this world, we shall find the solution to every problem, the cause for every effect, and since the world within is subject to our control, all laws of power and possession are within our control. Be aware of your thoughts, for these shape reality. Everything happens for a reason. Every event and circumstance is born from causes which have effects, and its effects have causes. It's the cycle of nature. Each of our actions create a reaction equal in force, or in other words, your actions have consequences. This applies to every single action you do, whether you realize it or not. Even in the actions that you could say are meaningless, or you attribute meaninglessness to them. However, that's far from the truth. This is Newton's third law, the law of action and reaction. For every action force, there will be an equal and opposite reaction force, physically, verbally, or mentally. For everything you did and everything you do comes from an event that has led you to your current position. Similarly, this also happens with each decision you are yet to make. Realize this and you will see things in a different perspective. In a way, each action is born out of thought, and such thought has its reason for existing in the first place. Therefore, if you apply this, you will find the root causes and the root effects of every problem and every situation in life. And by the same token, You can apply the law of cause and effect to find your main desires and grow a deeper sense of accomplishment that can aid you in getting closer to your goals and dreams. You must study and practice this. Everything in your outer reality is merely a mental creation, a projection of consciousness. So in order to control your destiny, you must control your thought process. Nothing compares to chance or luck, at least not in the sense that we use the terms. They are merely concepts that people have been using without understanding the true nature of the law of cause and effect. Your internal world is the cause, the external world is the effect. You've probably heard of the saying that the coin has two sides. We've got heads and we've got tails. This is the law of polarity in a nutshell. This law states that everything has its opposites. For hot there is cold, for light there is dark, for tall there is small, for beauty there is ugly, and so on and so forth. We can see the interdependence of every single aspect on existence if you observe carefully enough. Yet the real fascinating fact is that these aspects are not separate from the other, but rather an extension and its direct opposite element. Things that appear to be opposites or contradictory are just two extremes of the same thing. For instance, heat and cold appear to be opposites, but in truth, they are varying degrees of the same thing called temperature. This law of the universe applies to everything. It's the law of balance, for there is a dichotomy in all things. You cannot be fully yin or fully yang. Instead, you must find a successful combination of both elements to become one complete being, to be yin-yang. This is the true philosophy behind the law of polarity. Everything in the universe is in motion, whether solid, liquid, or gas. All things move, vibrate, and travel in circular patterns. Each thing that exists is identical by its own unique vibrational frequency. Frequency is defined as the number of periodic oscillations, vibrations, or waves per unit of time. No two things in the universe are truly identical because each has its unique vibrational pattern. When things vibrate very slowly, we hear no noise. Physical objects vibrate slowest, which is why we cannot hear any sounds emanating from them. As vibration increases, we begin to hear low-pitched sounds. Further increases in vibration allows us to hear high-pitched tones, as when we strike the ascending keys of the piano. If vibrations increase further to a higher frequency, we may not be able to hear the sound because it may have moved out of our ability to register the frequency. The same principles of vibration that apply to the physical world also apply to us, to our thoughts, feelings, desires, and will. We each have our own unique sound, and that perfect sound is who we really are. If we decide to connect with this personal sound, we would discover our true, greatest self. Change is the only constant. Energy and vibrations always exist. They cannot be eliminated, only transferred. The law of vibration is one of the key elements to understand reality, because this law, along with the law of the mind, are what conform the mindset of internal locus of control. There are two paths toward learning the truth of reality. One of them is the truth that you influence reality with only thoughts and vibrations that eventually lead to action, and action becomes reality. Additionally, there is the truth of outer reality, in which you learn how nature flows in its constant state and how you can align yourself to that nature. The great news is that vibration itself is mutable. If you shift your vibration, you alter the outer world. Your own contentment is capable of making the day better for thousands. And if you are stressed, that is what you will project outward. One change in vibration changes the course of all things. Everything is a vibration in this life. True power comes in shifting through vibrations to change your reality towards the desired reality. This law states that we are all a single entity or organism of consciousness, and everything and everybody is connected. We are all individual cells living together in this collective organism. This is the law of interconnectedness, or more colloquially known as the law of relationship. How more or less everything we experience is a relationship with the people around you, but also it's your relationship with your habits, with your activities, with your feelings, with your decisions, and basically everything you interact with. In a more practical perspective, you've probably been told as a child, you are what you eat. You may have heard this phrase multiple times, and now that you think about it, this is actually a fact. There's been studies about this, and it's been found that foods high in healthy nutrition facts, such as protein, calcium, or zinc, actually improves health and enhances your body, whereas foods with high contents of cholesterol, fat, or sugars increases those same amounts in your body, therefore increasing fat and in consequence, obesity. This observation is found all the way from the micro aspects to the macro aspects of reality. So for example, if you want to help yourself, you must be able to help other people. And if you want to help other people, you must be able to help yourself. Everything has patterns, cycles, and rhythms. Everything flows in and out. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. It's the pendulum swing that manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. Isaac Newton already discovered this in physics over 300 years ago. An object at rest wants to stay at rest, and an object in motion wants to keep moving unless something makes it stop or move. And when you push or pull an object, it will start moving or go faster if it's light, but if it's heavy, it will move slower or will be harder to move. The ocean waves, the rise and fall of civilizations, business cycles, the swing of the pendulum, the change of your thoughts from positive to negative, and your own achievements and failures. These are all examples of this universal law in motion. You must learn to recognize the subtle beginning of the backward movement in whatever effort you make it to advance your relationships, finances, health, or any other goal you may have in mind, so that you can work with the pendulum rather than against it. When you experience mental extremes, such as those that are on either side of the spectrum, such as fear, panic, excessive excitement, an obsessional feeling, or an attachment, try to relax your mind so that the thoughts, feelings, words, and actions that follow won't be extreme. Above all, this law is the representation of balance and non-attachment. The Oxford meaning of gestation is the process or period of developing inside the womb between conception and birth, or the development of something over a period of time. It means that it takes a certain length of time, known as gestation, for formless energy to gain shape. This law states that every seed you plant, whether physical or spiritual, has predetermined incubation or gestation period, during which it must follow its pattern for it to take physical shape. Every production, process, and transition in our lives also goes through a gestation period, much like a baby does through its 9 months in the womb. Some seeds sprout in a matter of hours, while others take days, weeks, or even years to bear fruit. The law of gestation is a universal law, and it works alike for everyone, just like the law of gravity. If you keep taking the appropriate steps and planting the right seeds, the result eventually becomes real. Simply putting a seed in the ground doesn't turn it into a tree. It requires intentional effort. You have to nurture it with enough water, sunlight, and fertilizer for it to fully blossom. Life is one big mirror, for everything that happens around you is a reflection of your internal world. Have you ever wondered why you attract certain types of people into your life? It's simple. They are a direct reflection of your own vibrational state. Inner world and outer world are one, for life does not make mistakes. It gives to you what you give to yourself. Our physical environment, interpersonal connections, and life events are all mirrors that reflect the conditions of our spirits and minds. This is a profound insight, since it implies that altering your inner self can shift your outer world. Mind is the master power that molds and makes, and man is mind, and evermore he takes the tool of thought and shaping what he wills, brings forth 1,000 joys, 1,000 ills. He thinks in secret, and it comes to pass. Environment is but his looking glass. In other words, physical reality is merely a projection of mind. It reflects what you think and feel in every way. The outside world is not only a direct representation of your best self, but it also includes the negative aspects of yourself. All the good and bad within you is also around you. Your own personal experiences are the seeds from which your original beliefs are rooted. And as we reach the end of the video, everything is connected. All laws are one fundamental principle in constant action. These laws are constant and always in effect. Whether we follow their lead or not is not relevant. But when anything is out of balance, we can feel it. Additionally, the laws operate simultaneously. If we ignore one law, we ignore all of them. The universe exists by virtue of these laws, which form its framework and which hold it together. Mastering the universal laws leads to mastering your life in every way. If you found this video helpful or educational, feel free to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below letting me know why. Thank you for watching. Until next time.